We're dishing and hamming it up with the pioneer woman, Ree Drummond.
I guess a large pizza isn't one serving.
We are taking one ham and turning it into a week's worth of meals.
Simple shortcuts to Eggs Benedict.
Avert your eyes, Gail.
And a mouth-watering jambalaya. Plus, Ree's spilling some secrets.
We won't name any names.
Right. This is sassy Ree.
That's next. Let's dish.
The kitchen has always been the center of my world because life is more delicious when it's full of food and fun.
Everybody knows me as a culinary expert and food judge on television, but also I'm a mom trying to get dinner on the table.
From Hollywood to home, I bring Southern sweet and Caribbean heat, and I'm not afraid to stir the pot.
Good food, good friends, good dish. I do always feel like I'm leading the 5, 6, 7, 8.
That was choreographed. That was nice.
Very much.
Jazz hands.
Welcome to the Good Dish. Okay, so we've all heard of Shark Week, but have you heard of Ham Week? No?
Never.
Nobody? Well, you're about to. No. It is a real thing, and Ree Drummond, also known as the Pioneer Woman, and her best friend, Cyndi Hyacinth Kan, are obsessed with it. They are going to show us all how to take one baked ham and turn it into 3 meals for the rest of the week. Please welcome Ree and Hyacinth to the show.
Yay! Oh, we did it! It's such a pleasure.
Welcome. I'm here. I love seeing you.
Great time.
Finally.
Hello.
Hi.
There's so much love to share.
Jump into the controversy?
Controversy first, friends.
Yes, always.
Besides Ham Week, which I am dying to know about because this is all new to me, people who know and love your friendship, which has spanned generations, and we want to dive into that as well, because it is kind of amazing to see how, like, your parents are friends, your kids are friends, your husband's friends, how that all works. Obviously, you guys are the best of friends. So can you talk about your friendship, though? Because I do think celebrating friendship between women, between moms.
I know, it's so important.
But also that yours has been this just several generations deep bond. Talk about that. And how did that come to be?
Well, we married into it. So it's our husbands who's multi-generationally back. We're responsible for the next generation. So we can credit that.
We gave birth to the next generation.
Right.
So.
There's 8 of them that are now friends, all just in love with each other.
Our in-laws were the best of friends. Their parents were the best of friends.
Right.
So it's just, but the great thing is we were sort of predestined to be friends.
Right.
But we actually love each other. And it was predestined, I think.
Because we both moved to, we'd never lived in a small town. And of course, she was out on the ranch and I'm in the town, but still it's a foreign, you know, I'm used to the city too. And so, yeah, we're just blessed. I mean, just that someone,
you're a fish out of water and you found each other.
I got pregnant on my honeymoon, so I was pregnant, nauseated, lonely, and disoriented on the ranch. And so Hyacinth was my first friend.
That could have been the blog. Pregnant, lonely, and disoriented.com.
It went the other way.
That should have been my memoir title.
Right. There we go. That's pretty great.
But finding a friend in that moment is so critical, especially your first time being pregnant and then to be able to raise your kids. This is the dream, to have like the commune to raise your kids together with a friend.
They talk about it all the time.
And they were just like a pile of puppies in a box.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they're just squirmy and rolling around all the time. And now they're off
Our
to
daughters
college.
were each other's maids of honor.
Oh,
and it's just wonderful.
But there's controversy.
There is.
What is your name?
Always.
Is it Hyacinth or is it Cyndi? Confess.
What's your government name?
Where's the spotlight?
Well,
There's many alias.
So it's funny. My name is Cyndi, but it's spelled C-Y-N-D-I. And so when Ree started in the early days of blogging, when she would type she would type Cyndi, and it would come up as a misspelling. And so
autocorrect.
Right, and it would autocorrect to either hyacinth or cyanide. So she let me choose. So nobody wants to be the poison friend. So, you know.
She named you Hyacinth.
Right, and she's definitely not a toxic friend. She's a fragrant friend.
Yeah, Hyacinth
and
is
lovely.
Beautiful.
I know. Have you smelled a hyacinth?
Yes.
They're
That's
just
pure
lovely.
spring.
Yeah.
So, quick story about celebrating Hyacinth with her new cookbook. When I had my first cookbook in 2009, let's just say I am a free spirit. And maybe I'm not the most organized person, okay? And maybe deadlines are just suggestions.
Right.
So it was getting critical. And
how's that cookbook going, Ree?
Hyacinth would sort of ask me, how's your cookbook coming along? And, it's okay, I'll get it. But she started losing sleep over my deadline. And so she single-handedly came to my house and said, we're not leaving until we finish. And
Our homeschool year ended, and I was like, okay, we're going to spend the summer on your cookbook.
Wow.
Because here's what she...
On her home.
Here's what
I
she'd
knew
do. We'd cook something, and then she would post, she'd need blog content, and then she'd post it. I'd be like, no! So I just had to embed myself with her to get...
And she did. Only way to get her to go home to her life was to finish the cookbook.
Right.
So I'm just so happy to be celebrating.
Oh, okay. That really, and now it's come full circle
I
because
know.
your book is here. It is called Save It Forward Suppers. So what does that mean exactly, and where did this idea come from? Because I think it's brilliant.
Well, you know, I think the pandemic taught us that we were having to get a meal on the table every night. You know, we didn't have very many options. And I was writing my cookbook at the time. I'd already had the idea, but the pandemic made it really just important. Yeah. And so if you're trying to build a meal from the ground up every night, it is exhausting, and everyone needs to stop that. I mean, you know, there's a better way to do it. And my way that I've sort of developed over 30-some years of being a mom and and homeschooling. You know, I was feeding kids 3 times a day.
And helping your friend write best-selling cookbooks.
Right.
You know, like
that was a short.
Like trying the pandemic, right?
So basically, you're just always you're not building it from the ground up. You're always saving forward. That's the name, Save It Forward Supper. So you're either saving forward a leftover into something else, or like this week, you're saving forward components. Like this honkin' ham makes 3 meals, you know? So and then the meal, or the meat in this week is a ham and a chicken, you know? And that's gonna feed your family all week. And that's, you know, it's expensive now.
Yeah.
And so that, from a budget standpoint, I just really hope that it helps people.
I love this. And I also love, I think women have a tendency to like look at other women and say, how does she have it all together? How does she figure this out? She's dealing with all the stress that I'm dealing with, but she makes it look so much easier. Like this is, this organization, this level of forethought is one of the key things that I'm taking away from you. Just like, this is how you make it look like you have it all together, and extend the meal and make it feel like even you're going to show us how to put this gorgeous honkin' ham, which I carried out. That thing weighs like 15 pounds. That is a honkin' ham.
Okay, so let's break it down a little.
Okay.
We start on Sunday with our honkin' ham.
Right.
Okay. How do we, first of all, allow it to retain moisture for the week?
Very good question.
Like, do you use a glaze?
Well, in Oklahoma, we don't like sweet meat, right? Or do you? Like,
I also do not like
I'm not, like, why would you put orange marmalade over
that? That sealed it for me. I definitely don't like it.
I do a habanero honey glaze, something like that.
Fine.
Well, and I'm not disallowing people to put a glaze on their ham if they like it. But no, for the first day, it's just a really simple ham and scallop potatoes, you know, hearkening back to another era of when moms wore aprons, sort of thing.
Yes.
So it's
classic.
Right. So you just cut the ham, and speaking of keeping it moist, I have a little method I'll show you. But I just put the ham slices on a tray, on a cookie sheet, a little water in, and cover it with foil.
Are you going to show us how to do that?
Should I? Is it time?
Is it time?
Right.
We can't just talk about this. We got to do something. Let's
I'll
do
do it this way. So I hope Hope I don't
Watch
punch you
that
with-
knife, lady.
no, no, no.
Tamika, we need
Yeah, sorry, exactly.
Right, yeah. Be careful.
The whole thing.
You all not like Tamika? Is that why you put her over here with me and the knife?
No,
I mean,
you were
it's
supposed
dangerous.
to save my life. Just keep me alive. That's all we got to do.
So basically you just kind of put a few, how many ever, your family will eat. It's all the recipes are they're made for families, but you can tweak them, the amounts based on how many you have that you're feeding. Just pour a little water in here, and it just essentially, provides steam.
Moisture in the oven.
And so then you just, kind of cover it up, seal it so the moisture stays in, and then would one of you lovelies like to put this in the oven for me?
Thought you'd never.
Go for it.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, it is. Now be careful. It is.
Yeah, the water.
We don't want a wet jumpsuit on our hands.
We are a team here. Woo!
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Got it.
All right, first time.
I'm usually the one to make a mess around here.
All right,
We'll take care of that.
Let me ask you, because I have the quick question here. So
Yes.
now you enjoy the ham on Sunday, and then later on in the week, you transform it into a breakfast or dinner eggs Benedict?
Yes.
Okay.
When we come back, we are giving this ham new life as breakfast for dinner eggs Benedict. Stay tuned.
Like something you saw on the show today? We're dishing all the details on the good list. All the recipes, important tips, and tricks, all in one place. So stay tuned until the end of the show when we'll share the good list QR code. You can scan to send it all right to your phone.
We just made a honkin' Sunday ham with the Pioneer woman, Ree Drummond, and her best friend, Cyndi Hyacinth Kan. And now we're going to turn this into another meal for later this week, a breakfast for dinner eggs Benedict. Show us how it's done.
So I don't think people do eggs Benedict enough at home. It is so easy, and I think what scares people is the hollandaise sauce, which I've never made a good hollandaise myself. Here's the secret weapon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Packaged hollandaise sauce.
Avert your eyes, Gail.
It's fine. I'm going to be honest that I didn't know you could buy that.
never seen that
but I am open to the universe.
But you doctor it up.
But here's the kicker. At the very end, you follow the directions, and some packages are different. So I'm not going to give a universal. There's some that I think they all require butter, but some require milk. You have to read your directions.
Can I add this?
Yeah. And then at the very end, here's what makes it seem like it's from a restaurant. You just do a big squirt of lemon juice in there. Yeah, that's the kicker. And I had a legit chef pal that went to the Culinary Institute of America, and this is how she makes.
All right.
This is how
We
she
won't
makes
name
it.
any names.
Right. I don't want to out her on this. So that's the hollandaise sauce. And then should I start with the eggs?
Yes.
do. Absolutely. I love
So
eggs Benedict.
another trick, another reason why people don't do it is because they think they have to do that vortex thing, which I
the
can't
tornado.
do. I mean, I'm not a trained chef. So what I use are these little silicone egg cups that are just really inexpensive. They store easily. And you really just put those in you get your water boiling. Well, don't
Simmering.
get it simmering. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get it boiling, because if it's boiling, it'll, get into your cup. Yeah,
You are full of good ideas, Hyacinth.
Oh, thanks.
This is great because I make a lot of poached eggs. It's my favorite way to eat eggs. And I always just, pour it in right here.
Yeah,
but
because
now
you're legitimate and I'm
No,
not.
that's not true. Actually not true at all.
Right.
I am converting and I am
Working
learning.
harder than she needs to.
We're down here eating ham, by the way.
Yeah, don't mind us.
Yeah.
All right.
Go all,
No, that's
all
good.
the whole week,
That's
but we're
good.
sampling
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Well,
because it's a big ham.
I say this, I wrote the foreword to Hyacinth's cookbook, and I said this, and I really meant it. There is no home cook I aspire to be like more than Hyacinth, because I'm much more just throw open the fridge and see what I have, and throw something together with nary a thought to what's going to happen to the leftovers. But Hyacinth has always been a combination of frugal and creative, and she really does look at dinner time as
efficient.
yes,
That's
good.
And I believe in efficiency.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So it's really exciting to see, you know, the way she has been cooking for years, you know, in a book and on paper.
So these won't take long to cook. If you have a big family, like my boys, particularly my teenagers, it takes them, they'll eat 2 or 3 eggs. So I'll be kind of cooking along and slide their plates over to them, and it's a real raucous experience, you know. And and then finally they'll look up and go, "Oh, Mom, have you eaten yet?" I'm like, "I'm good. Just stay and talk to me when mine come out." But you know, it's a little bit of a process.
At least they ask.
Yeah.
I mean, do they really care? Oh, no.
So anyway, then you.
Well, hang on one second, because while your raucous boys down here are enjoying their first taste, we're gonna make ours. When we come back from the break, we will finish up these eggs Benedict, and then we're gonna show you how that Sunday ham, what's left over it after there was lots of snacking being done, how to take that Sunday ham and make it into another brand new meal, a mouth-watering jambalaya. Look at that plate. Oh, nice.
Okay, we're ready.
Welcome back to The Good Dish. Today we are taking one ham and turning it into a week's worth of meals. And we already started on the eggs Benedict, which, by the way, I demolished that during the commercial break.
Yes.
Delightful.
Delicious.
But for the viewers at home, how about you finish it for them? Because
bet.
mine is already
You
gone.
bet. So we made the hollandaise sauce earlier with that little secret squeeze of lime, and then you just, of course, I like just
Lemon.
Lemon. Thank you, Ree.
Or lime. You can
Yeah.
Sure.
So then just, you know, slather it on to your heart's content. Later in the week, you'll be using hollandaise. There's kind of a chicken salad board where you'll have extra roasted asparagus and extra hollandaise. So again, you're saving forward. So I double up the recipe. I make 2 packages of hollandaise sauce. Yeah.
Smart.
And a little paprika if you want to get fancy. That's optional. But yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
There it is.
It was delicious, and
Thank
I
you.
am officially converted to your poached egg trick.
Okay, yay, thank you.
I love it.
Okay, we're gonna start on jambalaya now?
I'm stirring. I'm
Okay.
happily stirring.
Okay.
So we're gonna take that same ham that's still left over.
Right,
and now,
honkin' ham.
honkin' ham. We're 3 days in, and now we're turning it into a jambalaya.
Right.
Whoa.
So my lovely assistant here, she is cooking the green bell peppers, the celery
and onion.
Yeah, so that's
Holy
all cooked.
Trinity.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she's added a little Worcestershire, a little bit of hot sauce. We're gonna add tomato sauce. I'm probably forgetting to list something, but it's in the book.
It's in the book.
Right, and then rice and chicken stock. Yeah, and so you'll cook that for about 30 minutes with the lid on.
And before the veggies, before the Holy Trinity,
Right.
you cooked some leftover ham, warmed
Right.
it up with some roasted chicken.
Right, and
Rotisserie.
jambalaya can have any kind of protein that you want. You know, it can. I grew up for a brief time in New Orleans, thank you. And this is not original, like authentic Cajun. It doesn't have filet, you know, but nobody has that in their pantry. So I'm all about what you have in your pantry.
But you do need to put that disclaimer out because
Right.
New Orleans people will come.
Yeah,
they'll
right.
That's not traditional.
Right. So it's sort of
yes.
a, you know, mock.
You are safe to
Right.
have made that disclaimer. There you go.
Right. But
go in now.
yeah, that goes
Yeah.
in. It does have at the end, it has okra, which is a thickener.
Yep.
There's that aspect. Some people are very anti-okra though. So
Not me.
So you can skip it. It has some weight loss benefits. Did you know that? And so at the very
fiber.
Yeah. At
We're not thinking about it all while we're eating this
Right.
ham and delightfulness.
At the very end, you add the shrimp like 5 minutes before the rice is finished because you don't want to overcook your shrimp. So add the shrimp and the okra, and it steams a little bit.
Frozen okra here?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I love that
'cause-
too.
Yeah.
great.
So
Oh, that looks
I
so
think
good.
it's ready to eat.
Oh,
it's
let's
a very
do it.
simple
Serve
meal.
it up.
Yeah.
And while we're serving it, Ree, I have a question for you. I have a lot of questions for you, but I'm going to pare it down. You lost over 55 pounds over the last year, I was told.
Yeah,
That
I'm
seems
clapping for that. I am
incredible.
fully clapping for that.
Incredible. That is a big
You
deal.
look so beautiful. You always look so beautiful, but you look like you feel vibrant and healthy. And
Yes.
Well, and that's what it's all about, really. I will admit that the initial motivation was my daughter getting married. She got married last May, and I just, you know, in January of 2021, I just said, I've had it. So I just jumped right in, but you know, I did start losing weight, but what really kicked in was how great I was feeling.
Yeah.
And that just built on itself, and that motivated
your
me.
routine? What did you do to your routine? And was
You
it
know, it's funny
difficult?
because I've always thought, okay, how'd you do this? And I need like the button to push, and you know, whether it's keto and I'd tried everything, intermittent fasting and keto, and it never worked beyond the first, 6 or 7 pounds. But I tackled it from so many different directions.
You did.
I counted calories just so I could get a grip on,
What you're eating.
what I'm
A
eating.
baseline.
Yeah.
I weighed my food to get a grip on portions, because I had completely lost all sight. I guess a large pizza isn't one serving. So
Ranch portions, you
yes,
know.
exactly. But then I also started exercising, building muscle, doing lunges. Lad, my strapping husband, kind of coached me on how
Have
to
you
do.
seen Lad?
Yes. Not in person.
not in
He's
person.
strapping.
I like him.
Yeah.
But he kind of taught me how to do lunges. I couldn't even do a proper lunge. But what was great is at age, how old am I? 53. At age 52, 53, I really thought I was stuck where I was. It had just crept up. Everybody, it happens, we all understand how it happens, but it's just been a great experience. And feeling good is now what's most important to me.
100%.
We like it because I'm like, this is sassy Ree. Wow, like you are feeling yourself. I like this.
I know. People are like, what are your weight loss goals? And I said, I want to look good naked.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's a big one.
I'm sorry I said naked.
No,
on
we
your
love
show,
naked.
Jackie.
We're all about naked.
until
problem at
until we
all.
can look good naked, can we just look good eating this jambalaya?
Yeah.
Because
What do you think, Jamaica?
I love the flavor. The fact that you add the ham adds that little bit of saltiness, adds a little more depth of flavor. And I love okra. I ride with okra, but I find if it gets too slimy, add a little vinegar. I find that cuts
Oh.
the, that's one little southern tip. Put a dash of vinegar in there and that'll give
okay.
it that sliminess. But this is perfectly
Oh,
Hey, get back on that fork, buddy. This is perfectly done for me, and I like
wonderful.
that. It's a nice flavor. This is a great weeknight meal. This is
yeah.
good. This is
My
fun.
boys love this. This is one of the meals they ask for their birthdays and such. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
Thank you, Ree. Thank you, Hyacinth, for being here today. Ree and Hyacinth's new book, Save It Forward Suppers, is available now. And to find the handsome-looking recipes we showed you today, head over to gooddishtv.com. Coming up, it is time for the Great American Dish Off. Today, it's a meatloaf battle for the ages. Welcome to the Great American Dish Off, where we search for the best recipes in the country. Whose dish will win the Great American Dish Off? And today, it's over-the-top meatloaf, and we've narrowed it down to the top 3. First up, husband and wife.
Isaac.
And Melissa. He's a retired professional baseball player, and I'll tell you, our meatloaf Wellington hits it right out of the park. Beef Wellington is my favorite dish to order at a fancy restaurant. So think of beef Wellington turned into a comfort food.
Inside this meatloaf mix is our secret ingredient.
Isaac, that's a team secret. You're gonna roll out that puff pastry, and then you're gonna put some prosciutto on it. There you have it, golden brown meatloaf Wellington.
Next up, cooking instructor Napur.
When I got married, my mother-in-law told me that the way to my husband's heart is through his belly. And I said, are you sure it's not just a little bit lower than that? I'm gonna make one recipe that he adores. This is all we're going to need. Let's do it together. For the meat, I've got a secret ingredient that helps to keep it tasty and low fat. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna go ahead and make my berry chutney, which is going to be the glaze that I will put on top of the meatloaf. The perfect meatloaf with the perfect glaze for a perfect dinner.
And finally, home cook Jessica.
Everyone loves my meatloaf. I got a little creative for the dish off. I'm stuffing my meatloaf with spinach, cheese, and a secret ingredient I can't reveal yet. Then I carefully roll it into a loaf and bake. Now I know this meatloaf looks traditional on the outside, but if this one is planned, my meatloaf should be a perfect pinwheel. There you go. This is a winner.
They're here to contend for the coveted golden meatloaf. It's the Great American Dish Off. Here are our finalists. First up, retired baseball player Isaac and his wife Melissa. They treat their cooking like a team sport and say their pastry-wrapped meatloaf is a home run. Next is Jessica. She says her cheesy stuffed meatloaf is a favorite amongst her 200,000 TikTok followers because it is picture perfect. And last but not least is Napur, our spice queen. She fired up her meatloaf with traditional Indian flavors. Oh yes. Daphne and Gail are judging our 3 very unique meatloafs. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. All right, so first up, Isaac and Melissa, please reveal your secret ingredient.
So our secret ingredient for our meatloaf Wellington is breakfast sausage.
Oh, interesting. Now, how does breakfast sausage bring a meatloaf to the next level?
It's gonna add a really unique flavor. It's gonna keep it really moist, and it is something that a lot of people have in their refrigerator, so it's an easy ingredient to add to a meatloaf. So I think it's gonna make it the meatloafiest of the meatloaf.
Meatloafiest. All right, and I think, Isaac, you run the place. Are you the coach of the kitchen?
I am the coach of the house.
All right,
so.
she said it, and so it shall be. All right, so Gail, please weigh in on Isaac and Melissa's meatloaf.
I have so many things to say here, Isaac and Melissa. First of all, it is very meatloafian. There is a great beefy, meaty flavor that's really deep and rich. It is moist. It is seasoned well. And I feel like you were just super in sync with me today with the color of your, is this a red wine sauce?
It is.
It matches my outfit perfectly, which I truly appreciate.
That. Yeah, yeah.
But I do sort of wish I tasted more of the red wine. I'm getting a lot of butter, which is why I think it makes that sauce such a beautiful color. But my favorite thing about this meatloaf is that you Wellingtoned it, if I can use that word.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
I just think that it makes sense. It gives it texture. It breaks it up. It's a golden butteriness, and with that red wine sauce, it sort of all comes together. A lot of work went into this meatloaf.
Thank you.
A lot of love too.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Now, Jessica, please tell us what your secret ingredient is.
My secret ingredient is mushrooms sauteed with shallots, garlic, and thyme.
That's a lot going on. All right, so where did this recipe inspiration for this rolled and stuffed meatloaf come from?
You know, I come from a family of amazing home cooks, and I've been cooking since I was 6 years old. So my classic meatloaf recipe comes from my family. But then I pulled in flavors that I loved. I rolled it up similar to a roulade. So when you cut into it, you get the wow factor that you normally wouldn't get with a meatloaf. And then you also get all of those delicious flavors in one bite.
Wow, I'm impressed. All right, so Daphne, please weigh in.
Yeah, this is a meaty meatloaf. And by that, I mean you're getting all that delicious flavor that you associate and love dearly about your traditional meatloaf, but you're also kind of getting the sides along with it. You've got your spinach, you've got your gorgeous sauteed mushrooms, that mozzarella cheese that you added in the layer. So you really are getting flavor at every level of, you know, I also appreciate that you went for the visual component, that you really wanted this to be a showstopper when you cut into it, because people do eat with their eyes first. The flavors in here are balanced and beautiful, lots of different things for your mouth to play with. I love the little sticky sweet glaze on top. I'll be honest with you, the only thing that I think does happen when there's so much richness being rolled into the meatloaf, it brings some moisture. So that ends up creating a little bit more of a steaming effect than you'd normally get with your meatloaf. I might just try to wring out that spinach a little more, or maybe do a little drier of a mix when you add it in there. Maybe put the cheese on top instead of in the mix itself, just to try to limit too much moisture going on. But it is a beautiful faux roulade meatloaf, and I have to say the texture on top is delicious.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, these are definitely not Mama's meatloafs, because when we come back, Napur heats up the competition with her spiced meatloaf. Oh, 2 snaps. Will her bold flavors be enough to walk away with the coveted golden meatloaf? Find out next. Snap. We're back with the Great American Dish-Off Meatloaf Edition. Isaac and Melissa's Meatloaf Wellington was made with breakfast sausage and wrapped in a flaky, golden puff pastry, while Jessica's packed a surprise cheesy flavor bomb on the inside. And now it's time for Nopor's Indian twist to this classic American meal. Nopor, please, I can't wait any longer, reveal this secret ingredient to your meatloaf.
My secret ingredient is, ta-da, a combination of minced lamb and minced chicken, keeping all the flavor, keeping it low fat.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. All right, tell us about this recipe. Is it inspired by your childhood at all?
Yes, this recipe is inspired by my walks through the old walled city of Old Delhi, where there's markets and bazaars and open charred grilling. I used to walk through there with my mom. That's where this comes from.
Whoa, and it is packed with flavors and tons of spices. Gail, tell us if Nopor's meatloaf was too hot to handle.
There's heat, Nopor, and I love it. I will say there are many layers to this meatloaf, and I think that that is really exciting. You sold it, and the heat delivered. I got tons of spice. My mouth is tingling, but beautifully, not too hot that I can't eat it. My question is where this blueberry sauce comes in, because as much as it is lovely in and of itself, for me, it's tamping down the beautiful spices of the meatloaf, and those are what I came for. I'm also perhaps not a huge fan of the sweet with the savory or the fruit, but I do think this sauce is gorgeous, the color, the flavor. I'm just not quite sure it needs to be with your meatloaf, because your meatloaf can speak for itself. Thank you, Nopor.
Thank you. You made my day.
I'm glad.
All right, hope you're feeling that way when we announce this winner. Okay, so judges, it's time to confer and choose the winner of today's Great American Dish-Off Meatloaf Edition. Judges, talk amongst yourself. Who knew meatloaf was so exciting? I had no idea. Blew my mind today.
We've reached a decision. The winner of the golden, crispy, gorgeous, beautiful meatloaf trophy is Isaac and Melissa. Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Yes.
You hit it out the park. You got it.
So excited.
Oh my God, we're so excited.
Oh my God, it's a dream come true.
This is a dream
I
come
mean,
true.
do you have any baseball trophies to put that next to? Or
They're coming off the shelf. This is better than any baseball trophy.
Oh my
This is
God.
fantastic.
All right, that is like the World Series of meatloafs right there, my friend.
Yes,
You
it
did
is.
it.
Yes, it is.
Mantle for that one.
Truly a genius combination here. Definitely give this a try at home, you guys. A big thank you to all of our Dish-Off contestants today. Congratulations. Coming on up, if you are a member of the Clean Plate Club or maybe a recovering member, is there a right way to be a member of that club? We're getting into it. Coming up next. I love the heat on this. And I want to hear about yours going to that's my... If you've ever been told to finish your plate when sitting at the dinner table as a kid, you are not alone. 65% of you told us on Instagram that you were part of that Clean Plate Club. How about you guys? Did your parents tell you you had to finish your plate before you could get up from the table, or was it sort of part of the expectation of dinner time?
Gosh, I think back, it was such a weird space for me because as a kid, you grow up in the South, you get a serving. Like your child's portion is the adult serving, if you will. Yeah. So, my family taught us like you don't waste food. And I mean, my parents were immigrants coming in. You never wasted one thing, so you had to eat it all. But then it put me in this weird space and a warped relationship with food because I wanted to eat it all, but then I got teased and ridiculed for my weight and my size. Yeah. So it's like, I just had to grow up in my mind of how to eat properly. So now when I go out to eat, I ask for my to-go box before I even start digging in. I save half of it for later, like leftovers in my mind now are a good thing. So I already have my portion sectioned off and then I eat what's in front of me. Because if you put in, I'm gonna eat, I'm conditioned still to eat whatever is on my plate. So I have to clear off half of it or else I go right back to being that little round 7-year-old kid. Like that's, I was cute, but I was just a plump little, just a little juicy little thing. But I couldn't figure out how to get a good relationship with food. It was really confusing time for me.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I think, look, you want to teach your kids, all of us as moms, you want to teach your kids to be grateful for what you have and to appreciate this incredible opportunity to have a delicious meal. But I also want to be able to show them how to be in touch with their bodies. Like, I've had enough. I'm savoring this experience, not just I'm gonna hoover up what's in front of me. And you're so right. It gets very tricky because it's also, for me growing up in a very large family, it was like, that was love. That was bonding. Eating these big, exciting meals together, that was part of it. And so you overeat and you don't, and even if you're eating healthy foods, which I was eating tremendous portion sizes of them, not because anyone ever told me I had to clean my plate, but because of that celebratory nature of just like, well, everybody's still eating, but it is, I think as an adult, you get to a point where you, I love your portioning technique. I think that is very powerful because you do.
You're just gonna keep eating whatever's in front of you. So
I will.
You gotta get it out.
No
Exactly,
question.
you gotta get it out the way.
I think that's a really wise strategy. I also think it's like, I started, when I started eating on TV a lot, and there's always something delicious in front of you, I started this thing like my 2-bite rule. And that's really so that I just remind myself, the first bite is to taste what's going on, to like get up in the experience and have fun there. The second bite is to savor something that was very special to me that I wanted to try again. From that point on, I always kind of tell myself, like, everything from here is going to taste like what I've already tasted. So keep enjoying it. Like, if you're really thriving in this and this is what you want, enjoy it. But if you're just doing it out of like a mindless sort of, I'm in the motions of this now, try to pare back from that. And filling up on like a big healthy thing first, like we always start meals with a big salad in my family. Big salad first, and then a side portion of the thing that's really indulgent and decadent and fun and like what you're craving for. The last thing that has helped me so much, honestly, with my kids especially, because now we're not clean plate people, because I've learned what happens when you unintentionally take people down that road of like, I just have to finish what's on my plate, is we put everything out family style and let the kids portion onto their plate. Because you're so right, like we serve our kids thinking like adult portions sometimes, and it's way too much for what they would ever actually want to eat. Letting them portion it for themselves keeps it in their control what they want in front of them, which I also find creates less resistance for you, mom at home, which is wonderful.
It is.
But
I
was also a roly-poly. I was a roly-poly 7-year-old, and I feel that so deeply. Yes.
I mean, you're both beautiful women, let me preface. And I so appreciate it. I find it such a conflicting thing. I grew up in a household where both my parents, were children who were born during the Second World War. And so that was, their parents were immigrants. They definitely were part of the Clean Plate Club and taught us to be. My father is also a huge environmental activist. Any waste at all in my house is considered terrible. And so I grew up with that as my motivation. And still, my father will scrape the plate. It's not even enough to finish it. My mother, it drives her crazy because that noise of the scraping, because if there is a drop, it is, horrifying on the plate. So I really struggle with not always feeling the same way. And the frustration and guilt I have when my children don't finish their food. But I find that my issue is my children, even when given the opportunity and the independence to take their own portions, they take way more than I know they're gonna eat. True. And so I always am trying to figure out that balance. I try, although I'm not always successful, to give them smaller portions than they want, because I'd much rather them ask for seconds than take way too much and not finish it, because what ends up happening then is I feel guilty and I end up finishing it.
Yes.
Even if I don't want it. I don't want to throw it in the garbage because I hate, the mountain of food on the plate. So it is a constant struggle in my house. Was.
If they take too much, do you force them to eat it just to like...
I mean, I want to. That is what I want to do. But it's also, to your point, a lesson in listening to your children. It depends on how much they've eaten. If they've had one bite and ran away, then yes, you need to eat more dinner to some extent. Sure. But also trusting your children when they say they're full. Yeah. Because they're often full, and I never want to force feed my children. I think that is how very complicated relationships to food are created, right?
Well,
I do, but it's also like you want to, it's so easy. We're so lucky to be able to give our kids enough food and nutritious
good
and all the
food,
good
yes.
food. And when they waste it, you do kind of want to be like, you don't understand.
Exactly, and it's pent up in me.
Yes.
Well, I will say this, final rule, eating at home is one thing, but when you go to someone else's house, you better eat everything on that plate, because it's rude to leave food on the plate. It says you don't like them, you don't like your food. So my mother's like, don't you embarrass me, eat everything when you're at your auntie's house. So that is the rule, okay?
I feel that
home, you
deeply.
portion it with your kids. When you're out at someone else's house, eat it all, even if you don't like it. All right, so when we come up, it's the good list, and find out how to get the recipes and tips from today's show sent right to your phone. And plus, get 2 more Save It Forward meal ideas to keep your wallets and bellies full tonight. That is a win-win.
Yes, it is.
Full wallet and a full belly.
Got it. Yeah.
I'm in a band. There we go. All right. So it was a great day on the Good Dish, like a really good day. We did it all, we ate it all, and we've got leftovers for days after the Pioneer woman, Ree Drummond herself, and her friend Hyacinth taught us how to save it forward, cooking one ham and giving it new life all week long.
Yes, she did. That Eggs Benedict, the jambalaya, delicious. And 2 more tips actually coming up, guys. Now it's time for the good list. See that QR code on your screen? Open your camera app, hold your phone up to the screen, and it will take you right to the recipes and more from today's show, keeping it really easy for you. You can also head to gooddishtv.com to get it all, including the answer to the question, what's for dinner tonight? We gave you 3 choices. We took a simple roasted ham that we made on Sunday, keeping it nice and moist, and later turned it into breakfast for dinner with Eggs Benedict. Then it was resurrected again with jambalaya, another Save It Forward idea. It was delicious. Another Save It Forward idea for you. If you have turkey burgers one night, you can actually turn them into Italian meatball soup later in the week. Both are huge crowd pleasers, and the meatball soup's actually a great way to make sure they stay hydrated and delicious and give them a whole new form so nobody's like, leftovers again. It's the best. All right, these recipes will also be on the good list.
Now I want meatball soup.
I know.
Thanks,
We're
guys.
We're always hungry on this.
Always, nonstop. We will see you next time for more good food and more good dish.